Sorry, I'm a little bit late, different day. It's all a little bit strange, these short weeks. You'll laugh. Honestly, Claire and I were catching up away in the office talking about new product development. And then she says to me, aren't you supposed to be going live at 11? And that was at 10:59. I know, get carried away. You are with the Skeinz Diaries. Thank you for joining us. I know it's not our usual day, but I have got an appointment tomorrow at 11 in Hastings, so I won't be around. So I thought, right, this is sort of hump day, the middle of the week. We'll catch up just once this week. And wasn't it an absolute fantastic weekend? Long weekends are always glorious, and I think it was so glorious. We're just so blessed in this country to be in a situation where we're able to be out and about and doing, having such wonderful freedoms in this COVID environment. So it was a 4-day weekend here in the Bay, and it was utterly, utterly beautiful, completely divine. It is utterly frigid here today. Like, it's seriously only about 13 or 14 degrees. It is so cold today. Hence the reason why I'm sort of all rugged up with Love Note and Cowl, and it is, all a little touch chilly. So yes, welcome to the Skeinz Diary. Today is episode 46. It is, in case you're wondering, Wednesday the 28th of October. Yes, it is insane. Absolutely insane. I can't believe it. It's going to be November on Sunday. Where's all that gone? But it was nice. It was so lovely to have a long weekend. I didn't get as much knitting done as I would have hoped to have gotten done, primarily because I had a house for the first half of the long weekend, I had 5 teenage boys aged basically 13 and 14 at mine. So that certainly kept me out of mischief, and not a lot of knitting got done with all of them roaming around. But then I did manage the last couple of days to get some knitting done and some work on the Rebel. And looking over on the speakeasy, it looks like there's been a lot of knitting done across the weekend, and some people are making fabulous progress on the Rebels. I think it's Lauren who's knitting hers in Sock Bandit. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's in the Daring, which is the mustardy yellow one, and the High Twist Sock Bandit, which is just amazing. Same base yarn that I'm using for mine. Do check that out. That's on the Skeinz Speakeasy. If you're not a member of the Skeinz Speakeasy yet, you do need to go and have a look at that, because it is just, I loved it. I actually said to her, I said, I'm so jealous, because she was picking up sleeves yesterday. I had sort of set myself as a bit of a goal. I wanted to be at that point to show you guys today, but I think c'est la vie, it's okay. I'm not going to stress myself out. What I have done is I have got some good progress, and I've got multiple balls here on the go, so I'm just going to move these carefully. But I did get some knitting done. I popped around to my cousin's yesterday, actually, and had a coffee, because she's doing the knit along. And her and I had a little bit of a knit up with us together and checked our progress. And we're actually both, funnily enough, at the same spot. So it was really good. But there's the back of mine. There you go. I knew the camera gets really funny with too much colour. So that's the back. There's the front. I don't mind these colour graduations and changes from one ball to the next. I really don't. That's me. The yarn that I'm using is the High Twist Merino, which has been hand dyed by Sue Goodley, who is a local dyer here on the Mahia Peninsula in the Northern Hawke's Bay. And I love the fact that the colour changes and whiffs and wends and moves, because for me, these are the colours of the Mahia Peninsula. So I like that. That's a me thing. But what I did do, and I know I said that, and I hadn't bothered to transition between Skein 1 and Skein 2. However, Libby talked about, when I had Libby on last week, she talked about when and where to do a transition, and I thought that I would actually transition with the next ball, only so I could show you what that transition looks like for those who are choosing to either put in some stripes or different colours into the Rebel, or they're wanting to transition between different skeins. And her suggestion was, so there is your edge there, and you've got your movement from your garter stitch there to your stocking stitch there, right? And her suggestion for the transition point, and I don't know whether you can see this. Oh, there we go. Was actually in this edge here. And the reason for that is so you're not having to carry yarn up on your cardigan edge there, and you can keep that cardigan edge looking crisp. So I'm going to hold that a little bit closer, and hopefully you can see, and I'll just pull that, there you go, and you can just sort of see I'm actually carrying that yarn. Oh, there we go. Come on, you know you want to. Let's get my face out of the way so then it might stop. There we go. Ah, there it goes. So you can see where I'm carrying that yarn up there. That's where I'm carrying it up. So I'm actually doing quite a long transition. This is all I've got left of that particular skein, and I'm now, don't look at the state of my skeins. I've got the world's worst ball winder. So that's where I'm at with that. And I'm probably about, I haven't even measured this actually. I can't even tell you what the pattern says. I'm dreadful. I couldn't even tell you because I often don't pay attention to that measurement much. But I think in pattern she has got, shall we consult? Body, there we go. La-di-dum. 25 centimetres from the underarm to bottom edge, or 7.5 centimetres less than desired length. Now, I'm working to the latter, the 7.5 centimetres less than the desired length, because I like to make up my mind of what length that I want. And yes, I've only done probably about, looking at that, 12 centimetres anyway under there. So I'm probably going to go at least that again. And then, yes, I'll start looking at working on that pocket section. But I'm really, it's actually, I'm at the, what I like to call the cruise control stage of the project, whereas it's very, very rhythmic, very systematic. I love seeing all the colours weft and change and blend and do all of that. So I'm actually at this really nice, I'm actually really enjoying it at the moment, because that's the space that I'm at, having loads of fun. So I know that I will probably get through one more skein before I start moving into the bottom section. But it's tracking along really, really nicely. So that's how mine's going. So do make sure you post up your progress. I do want to see, I need to get a decent photo of that and show you how my progress is getting on. But do show us what your progress is like. And if you haven't cast on yet, it's not too late. This is honestly the free-for-all of knit-alongs. There are no rules with this knit-along. There's no start dates. There's no finish dates. You won't get any prizes either. Oh, unless, you get drawn out in our speakeasy prize. This is literally just us all having a bit of a gas and a wheeze, knitting something around the same time. So if you're at Creative Fibre, at Capital Fibre Fest on the weekend, and you picked up something delicious while you were down there, and you think that you want to cast this on, wind it off and get it cast on and join in the fun. And I hear it was fantastic. Capital Fibre Fest. So I hope everyone at Claire went. She said it was great. She had a good look around, and so I hope it's I hope there was some nice shopping done, so that's good. Good morning. Oh, so good to see everybody. Good morning. So there we go. Now Deborah, I'm glad to see Deborah's in there. She's saying, I'm trying to finish her project for Outlaw October. So remember, if you are working on a project and it is an outlaw yarn or bandit yarn, you can double dip this month, because you've got the categories over with Deb, and all of her entries and things are being posted up over on Ravelry. Deb, if you could post in the Ravelry link, that would be great for me. Saves me a job. So you can make sure you enter over with Outlaw October with Deb over on the Ravelry page, group page at for them. But if you also post your project in either Outlaw or Bandit yarn with me on the Skeinz Speakeasy, I have a whole separate drawer, which is a copy of the Georgie pattern by Libby Johnson, which was designed and made in Outlaw Bohemia Sport. And we're putting together, between Deb and I, we're putting together a project lot of a Kelmscott, which is the beautiful, rich, verdant green, which is what their sample is knitted in down at the Outlaw Lair at Outlaw HQ. So do make sure you get yours posted up, because that is an entire separate draw in the Speakeasy from the Feeling Fine draw. So do make sure you do that, because it could be your chance to win. I'm so glad so many of you have managed to make it, because it's a different day. Janet's just saying, so there we go. So now I'm glad you've brought this up, Janet. She's saying a yarn arrived yesterday. And for those who did do some, thank you, Deborah. Deborah's just put up the link for the Revelry group. If you did order across the long weekend, we did have our Feeling Fine sale as well as our Labour weekend sale. There was a huge volume of orders, and so Damien is just catching up on the last of those today. So 2/3 of them went out yesterday. The last third is going out today. So we apologise for that. Just, 4-day weekend, you see, and hence the reason for the delay. But that's all right. The last of them will go out. But you were saying finishing Christmas presents and to get ready to make and go. And what I've gone and done is I've actually just spent the morning having a good look in and around Ravelry and a few things of different things that just what's out there at the minute that can be knit, particularly if you picked stuff up in the sale over the weekend and you thought, oh, I'm going to grab that now because it's such a good bargain. But what can I knit with it or make with it? And I thought, well, I'll help you out with that. And I've just gone and I've had a little folder of patterns that whenever I've come across them, I'm thinking, oh, that would work quite well with that. And, well, that's quite a good stash buster or the like. And I thought, well, I'll just grab this folder and share a few of them with you. And the first one actually that I want to share may not necessarily want to go with anything that you purchased across the weekend, but it's in the sort of top 20 or so in Ravelry, and it's not very often that these patterns crop up. It's a designer, it's what I would call a novice designer, but what I love about it, and as they said in her notes, and she hasn't actually popped her name on here, bless her heart. I printed it out and I didn't see her name. But it's called the Blossom Baby Cardigan. I'm actually going to look that up because she's worth crediting. Let's have a look, shall we, people? Yes, I know. I need to do that too. There it is. It is by LJM Designs. LJM Designs. And actually, I'm going to read out what she says. She says here, I'm not a pattern designer. I'm just someone who enjoys playing around with stitches and seeing what I can make. If you spot a mistake or a question, just send me a message. And you know what? I really admire that. I really admire the fact that this is someone that loves knitting stuff. She wants to create a pattern and share it with you all. And she's just released this pattern, and it's free on Ravelry, and it's written for 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months. It's knitted flat. It's using a DK. She's also popped a couple of tutorials, but what I love about it is that, as you were mentioning, you were finishing off Christmas knitting. If you're looking for some Christmas knitting, this is a great little pattern if you've got little people to knit for. There it is there. Oopsie. Isn't that the cutest wee thing? And I'm just going to flip that round because I thought that's her blocking diagram there. That's her actually blocking the piece. So it just gives you an idea of how it's constructed. And it's just a seriously sweet wee pattern. I'm going to feature this in the newsletter today. I thought it was lovely. Sometimes you just want something really lovely, really sweet. She's got a knitted this in a beautiful pink yarn. I instantly just grabbed these guys. This is our Urban Deluxe. If you ever want fantastic value DK for kids or baby knitting, you cannot go past our Urban Deluxe. Machine washable wool. It's awesome value. I think it's now $5.95 a ball. It's we just love it. It's brilliant, utterly brilliant. And then if you're wanting merino, we've got our Orb DK. I'm told this. There's a lot of Orb rolling around at the mill, so hopefully I'll get that before the newsletter goes out. Either of these would be perfect in this pattern. So I'm going to feature that today. Actually, I'll pop the link up there now that I've gone and looked it up. But I just thought that was an utterly delightful, sweet, lovely pattern. So thank you very much to them for posting that up, because it's, sometimes that's what you're looking for. You're just looking for something that is sweet and simple and lovely, and I just appreciate the ingenuity on that. I really, really do. But the other thing I did is I also grabbed a couple of other patterns. These ones are paid patterns, but perfect if you did pick up any of the yarns that we had on sale, particularly the Cascade or the Blue Sky Fibre yarns we had. Just on a note, if you are Christmas gift knitting and you are looking for freebies, I'm actually wearing my Ever After Cowl today, which is the long version of it. When I say long version, I just up the needle size. But this cowl is free on Reverie. Look, you can tell I pinched it from the shop, still got tag on. And I just knitted this in a ball of the Malila that I purchased in Australia a few years back and had in stash. And I used a ball of that with just some DK. I took the Stephen B advice of neon green goes with everything. So I just did a series of crazy looking stripes using the Malila because I knew that what I had wasn't going to be enough. But I did it on the needle size that was recommended on the ball band, which was a 5.5 millimeter. So this is the pattern as written, but just with the needles supersized. So if you've bought any of the Malila across the weekend and you're looking for something to do it, 2 balls will get you this cowl, and you can just do this cowl as written, 2 balls, and not do the Ripley stripe in between. If you're wanting to do the Ripley stripe in between, just use anything, a DK, a worsted weight yarn, 10 ply, 12 ply, whatever you've got floating around in your stash, to give you contrast stripes in between. And this is again a really super. I have to admit, I'm still knitting this for gifts for people when I do gift knitting. It's just really easy. That's what it looks like. Double, but it's cold today, so I'm doubling it over. It's just easy. It's easy. It's quick. You can bang one of these out. I mean, I designed the pattern to use a 100 gram skein or ball of DK yarn, like indie dyed DK yarn, because so often you would have these unicorn skeins rolling around, and so what do I do with it? Particularly DK. 4-ply and fingering is a little bit different because you've got enough meterage there. You can do, some incredible shawls or something quite amazing. But DK is kind of, restricted really to hats and mitts. And I kind of thought, well, what else could you do? And this cowl is something that you could do with one single skein and give you this really bright, vibrant accessory piece that you could throw on just to brighten up anything that you're wearing. So that is actually, and I'll since I'm onto it today, I'll let me put the link up for that, shall I? There we go. Oh, look at that. Stop it. It's the first one that comes up. Right. There we go. Look at that. I amaze myself sometimes. So this is an option. However, I've been looking at some other options because I know, looking at the orders that Damien was sending out, a lot of Cascade Sport prints were purchased across the weekend. And what do you do with those prints? And speaking of cowls, and it is that time of year that you're knitting gifts for teachers or friends, and that, I mean, honestly, that yarn is perfect for that sort of thing. So 2 hanks of the Sport would do this. And this is another cowl that I just loved because, and I've seen this cowl knitted up, and this is actually designed, it's mana on Revelry, but this is actually designed by our sample knitter, Delene. And it is called, and I know you're in chat, Delene, so you're probably going to go, what? Jesus, Marie. The Hebe Cowl. I love this cowl, Delene. I really do. We need to actually get one knitted up in the shop. And I looked at it and I thought that would be perfect for those cascade prints if you're looking for it. It's a fantastic little cowl. It's like this. It works up beautifully. Because of the yarn overs in there, it would actually help. Those prints will look amazing in this. So this is a really neat little option if you're wanting a cowl. It's one of those ones that, you know, you spend the money on the pattern and you'll just use it again and again and again. One of the things I know about cowls like this is written primarily for a DK. The sport weight will work fine because it's using up to a 3.5 to 4 millimeter needle. You just modify your needle size to actually go with your yarn and add in a pattern repeat or a few extra stitches if you need to. You'll generally find that there'll be a and if you know it, I know that you did this one a few years ago, Delene, but if you know what the stitch repeat is on this, definitely check it out and have a look for what this is, but it's definitely worth picking up and having in the arsenal if you're doing a lot of knitting or you need to grab something to whip something up. So I thought that was a really good option. The other option too, if you're wanting to knit for kids and you're using the sport weight and you love some of the colours that you picked up and you thought, gosh, it'd be so much fun to do something for kids. This is again another New Zealand based designer, actually just from up the road in Gisborne, my old hometown. And this, I love this. I mean, again, this isn't a new design. I mean, a number of you probably already have this in your library. It was released in 2015. It's from Rebecca Newman. And this one is part of a collection called the McKenzie collection. And she's gone and done this collection for both 4-ply, 5-ply and DK yarns. And it's a brilliant pattern because it goes from newborn all the way through to 12 years, and often finding kids patterns that actually span the entire breadth of childhood is really, really difficult. And I just loved it because it's just a really fantastic little jumper. It's got, you know, a little collar down in the front. Actually, I have it printed off a big one, so you probably can't see too much there, but that is the details there. And it does use specifically a sport weight yarn, 3.75 millimeters, so it's perfect for those cascade prints. And it's just an absolute little cracker. And I thought, this is ideal. You know, it is worked in the round, but I have done way back in the day, like a long time ago. I actually did some test knitting for Rebecca way back when, and her patterns are very well written. So even if you're quite new to knitting in the round, you should be able to knit this without any difficulty whatsoever. Also, speaking of DK, and this is another one that is a brilliant pattern if you've only just started knitting in the round or you are looking for a first pattern in the round. I bought this pattern, gosh, again, this one was also released May 2015, so it shows you how long it's been around, and I bought it at about that time. I've knitted and modified this every 6 ways till Sunday. I've added hoods to it, I've added sleeves to it, I've lengthened it, I've shortened it, I've done different colours with it, and it will again work fabulously. In fact, Urban Deluxe was one of our yarns that was suggested for this project, but the sport would actually also work with this. You could either, because it's 3.5 and 4 millimeter needle, the sport does go out to a 4 millimeter, or you can just pull it back and go 3.25, 3.75 and just check your ease. And it's called the T-shirt Vest by Kylie Bates. And it's, you know, honestly, it is one that I just keep going back to again and again and again. It's just a really simple square-necked raglan top down in the round. So as I said, great if you've never knit in the round before. And even if you've not done, you can do a bigger circumference with this in the round. and just do the t-shirt sleeve and not get into the small circumference knitting of a sleeve if you don't want to. So if you want to pick this as a first project, actually this is a good one to do, because you start at that neckline and then you sort of go out, divide for your sleeves, and then you go round in a tube. So you can actually get away with, it's easy to magic loop, so you're not going to get too fiddled, or you can get away with a smaller cable on it. And it's funny, it's really nostalgic. I do go back to the favourites again and again and again, and this is certainly one of mine. And that's why I thought I'd pull it out, because it is one that I know that I have done in multiple yarns. I've done it in Southlander, I've done it in different prints, I've done it in Tekabo prints, I've done it in all sorts. And it never lets me down. And, it's great, and you can play around with it. This is what I love. If you've got some of those prints, you can do it with the prints, or you can play around. If you've got stash at home and you've got little fiddly bits, you can do stripes. I mean, you can see the contrasting that we've got with that one there. You can even play around, once you get a bit of confidence under your belt. You can do, colour work and intarsia across the bottom of it and all sorts of things. I've done all of the above with it. And it is, and actually I'm going to look at both of those for you as well. I just think these are patterns that are, are well worth having, spending the money and having them in your arsenal, because they do make a huge difference. And to know that you've got them there, and to pick them up and knit them, and there it is there, and have it, just being able to have it and know that once you've got this yarn, you think, oh, what on earth am I going to make with it? You've got it there. The pattern's in the library. You are good to go. Right, I've just put the t-shirt vest, and let me just throw the McKenzie in the Hebe in there for you as well. Oh, gosh, stop it. I'm cooking with gas today. Right, where are we? There's Hebe. And last but not least, McKenzie. So what did you guys get to knitting on the weekend? Let me know in the comments. I have to say I have been quite good. I have cleaned up a lot of, I've only got one other work in progress, which is the poncho that I've been meaning to get published for forever and haven't got round to doing. So it's actually quite nice to actually have so many projects cleaned up and sorted, and it's really, really lovely. Right, good. I've got all of those down, and excellent. I do quite like that. Right, what else did I want to tell you about? So that's that little group there. The other one that I wanted to show you was this one here. This one here, that one. And it is called Southwood. And let's pull this one up. And I pulled this out because sometimes for me, I mean, we're heading into a busy time of year, right? And it's almost like Labour weekend. There's this magical switch that happens in Labour weekend. And we all of a sudden get this Christmas is like this far away. I know from my American friends, and there's a few of you in the chat this morning, I mean, you guys have got to get through Halloween at the end of this weekend, and then you've got Thanksgiving in a few weeks. There's the small matter of an election next week. So, I mean, you guys have got a few things on before you get to the big C. But for us here, it's sort of kind of Labour weekend, and then we're sort of, it's now the road to Christmas. And I have to admit, I popped into town on the weekend, and I did get a little jittery when I saw the Christmas decorations had arrived at Farmers, which is a department store here, a little bit like Macy's. Yes. So I'm picking that the Christmas and there was a Christmas shop has now opened its doors in Havelock North, and yeah, mentally I'm just not there yet. I am just not there. I will confess though that I saw that the Christmas tree had been moved from its normal location as kids were trying to get bikes out on the weekend. So dare I say it, that will potentially get moved inside very soon. But yeah. So one of the things for me that I quite often do is I will do a lot of actually, I quite often do a lot of chunky garment knitting. When I say chunky, I mean decent sized garment knitting. So this actually was my summer holiday project this last summer. And I enjoy that. That's me. Not everybody likes to do that. Some people like to do lots of smaller projects. I see Wombat here, you're doing baby hats for charity, which is just, charity knitting at this time of year is because you feel great doing it. It's a brilliant way to use up bits and pieces and scraps and things that you've got rolling around. And you can, the sense of completion, of lots of projects in a short space of time I think feels really great. However, I saw this, and the thing I loved about it is sometimes all you want is a basic sweater. And this is called Southwood. And what I loved about it is and it says here in the notes, a basic top-down raglan pullover for sizes 0 through to 5XL. So in other words, this is a basic top-down raglan sweater template for anything that you might want to do. Now, I like this. To me, if I'm not having to write, I quite often will write these sorts of things for myself. And for those that know me well, know that I will create these patterns, write them, write rudimentary notes down. Generally, alcohol is involved, and then I can't quite remember how to replicate it. Or I can read my notes to replicate, but never get around to getting it published. What I loved about this is it just uses, they've written it to an 18-stitch gauge, so which is using a 10-ply or worsted yarn, our Southlander DK would work in this. However, with that size range, unless you're a 0 or potentially the 5XL, with that size range, making size alterations in this is going to be the easiest thing in the world to do. And that is because you've got so much sizing to choose from. So you can knit it ostensibly in anything that you want, and then you just need to apply some knit maths. Now, I've talked about knit maths before, but knit maths, and they're saying recommended positive ease. See, for the child sizes 1 to 2 inches, women 0 to 2, men's 2 to 4. So you've definitely got some ease to play around with there. That's inches. And with your knit maths, it's just a matter of working out what yarn you want to use, what gauge you want to knit it to in the needle that you're comfortable knitting yourself a swatch, blocking it, measuring it, and then comparing the difference, the percentage difference between your swatch and what they have here in the pattern. So if your percentage difference is your gauge is going to be say, for example, 22 stitches, which is a 4-stitch difference, which is a percentage difference of roughly around 20%. Not quite 20%, actually, be about 15%, 12 or 15% roughly. Then you just need to move to a size that is, you need to go up a size by that 15% mark of what they recommend. And then you should get your sizing. And the converse is if you want to go back the other direction, so if you're wanting to knit something larger, like a 12-ply, you're looking at getting a 15-16 gauge, as opposed to an 18-stitch gauge, you then go back the other way. You knit something 15% smaller than what you had, or whatever your percentage difference is. Work out the percentage difference between what the pattern is written for, what the gauges you want to use, and then move up and down accordingly within the pattern, and you should be able to get the sizing that you want. So that's Knit Maths 101. And it's great. And it's a basic neckband, yoke, going down to divide for the sleeves. It's very, very straightforward. The other thing I love too with this as well is she's gone and provided this excellent chart breaking everything down into circumferences, torso length, sleeve circumference, which means that you can make your own modifications. So for somebody like me who likes to modify until the cows come home, this will take a huge amount of guesswork out for me. This allows me to take a template and go, oh, right, I'm going to do stripes, I'm going to do whatever else. Seriously considering taking this and actually using that as my summer project with going crazy. So after we've gotten Rebel out of the way, looking at something like this is like, what can you do with using this as your foundation and playing around with colour and texture and different stitches and to create a basic jumper. So that's another one I want to share. And did I put that in the... Yes, I did. And I did pop that link in there. So definitely do that now. Oh, so you guys... So Gail's also doing Rebel, first time circular. Yay, Gail. Absolutely delighted. That is fantastic. Barbara's getting into the Truly Myrtle thinking cap and really enjoying that with a matching cowl and the Outlaw Bandit. Don't forget to double post, Barbara. That would be brilliant. And Samantha having a shorter knit for a mum in the UK. The last posting date for 25th of November. I know, I just suddenly realised that if we were having to post up to the Northern Hemisphere, if you're using post, that is, I know, that's the thing, isn't it? They're going to start, those post dates are going to start closing off soon. Now, Wombat is saying here, and this is quite funny, she's saying, you're doing your best designing whilst imbibing Wombat wine. Now, her and I have a private joke together, and there is a wine, if you're actually either an Australian who's on here or Kiwi, there's an Australian wine called Little Giant, which has a picture of a wombat on the front label, and I couldn't help myself sending that to her one day. I was saying, here you go, I'm drinking some Wombat wine. I have been known. Oh, Marion, this looks fabulous. Cast on the Spindrift Shawl by Helen Stewart and using some naked Skeinz yarn that you dyed with false dandelions. How can a dandelion be false, Marion? Did it fail a polygraph if it was a false dandelion? Free dandelions. I bet it's free. Please, it'll probably be free dandelions, but it will be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Awesome. And Margaret is getting busy with new baby sets with her mum and dad. That's fantastic. So it sounds like everyone is keeping themselves nice and busy, which is great. I'm going to be back again on Monday because we're back to normal next week. If you are rolling around the bay, this weekend, I am working in the shop on Saturday because we are stock taking. So in fact, it's already started, but the big push final day is October 31st for us. So you get me in the shop because they don't like me doing stock taking because apparently I'm not very good at it and I always count things wrong and I put things in the wrong place. So yeah, Claire banishes me from stock taking, so that apparently the only thing I'm good for is talking to people and taking and using the EFTPOS machine out the front in the shop. So there you go. But that's where I'll be, and I love it. I always have so much fun. So if you're in the Bay on Saturday, do come and say hello because I'd love to see you. So I'll be out there, and I will talk to you again on Monday. So we'll catch up with that Rebel progress, but also by then it will be the new month. So we'll roll over a new theme. I should hopefully have some winners. I'll also be able to get catch up with what's going on out and about. No, it'll be the following week. And also next week, so it won't be Monday, but the following Thursday, hopefully. If you're still here, Deborah, generally we do our first Thursday of the month with Ethan as well from Outlaw HQ. So there's a lot happening still. Plenty to do with the needles. So until then, have a great rest of week. Have a great weekend wherever you are. If you're celebrating Halloween, hey, look, I still have boys that are itching keen. I have my 3 kilo bag of lollies all ready to go. Enjoy. Oh, here we go. Marion about the false dandelions. I thought they were dandelions, but they weren't. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. So they were flowers, yellow flowers that got dyed and used, but that's brilliant. I love it. So they did fail the polygraph, the floral polygraph, as it were. So have a great week, and hope you survive Halloween. Don't have too much sugar. Or do. Live dangerously. Until then, take care, and I'll see you next week.